Tensions rise in Turkey as tens of thousands march for a deposed leader. Meanwhile, North Korea's missile tests continue to challenge international stability. From geopolitical shifts to economic crises, here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. In a dramatic display of political support, tens of thousands of people marched in Ankara, Turkey, advocating for the release of the deposed leader of the country's main opposition party. This spontaneous gathering highlights the growing discontent among citizens regarding the current administration's actions. The march comes at a time when political tensions are rising, especially with the ruling Justice and Development Party, or AKP, facing dwindling approval ratings. With the next elections not scheduled until 2028, many speculate that President Erdogan may push for early elections to consolidate power. This march not only demonstrates the dissatisfaction within the populace, but also sets the stage for potential political upheaval in the coming months. Observers are keen to see how the government will respond to such a significant show of dissent. Will this be the catalyst for change within Turkey's political landscape? Only time will tell. On May 31st, 2026, North Korea launched a series of missiles toward the sea, marking a significant escalation in military provocations. This action was a direct response to perceived threats from the United States and its allies, particularly in light of recent military drills in the region. South Korea's military confirmed the missile launches, emphasizing their commitment to maintaining a robust defense posture against North Korean aggression. This latest show of force comes amid a backdrop of heightened tensions as North Korea continues to develop its missile capabilities. The international community is watching closely, with concerns that these provocations could destabilize the already fragile security situation in East Asia. Analysts are questioning the effectiveness of diplomatic efforts to curb North Korea's military ambitions. As the situation evolves, regional allies are urged to strengthen their defense strategies in response to this latest development. The ongoing tensions between Iran and Israel have taken a new turn, evolving from military confrontations into a broader psychological and economic conflict. Recent reports indicate that both nations are engaged in a war of perception, utilizing economic disruption as a primary weapon. This shift is particularly notable since the declaration of a ceasefire, which has seen a cessation of direct military engagement. Instead, the focus has shifted to strategies aimed at undermining each other's economic stability. Analysts suggest that this transformation marks a significant change in modern warfare tactics, where psychological operations and economic sanctions can be as impactful as traditional military engagements. Observers are concerned about the long-term implications of this new approach, particularly regarding regional stability and the potential for future conflicts. How will global powers respond to this shift in strategy? The answer could reshape the dynamics of Middle Eastern geopolitics for years to come. As nations brace for future agricultural challenges, discussions surrounding global food supply chains are intensifying, particularly regarding their resilience to climate shocks. Experts warn that without substantial investments and strategic planning, food security could be severely compromised in the coming years. Recent studies underscore the vulnerabilities in agricultural inputs, such as fertilizers and seeds, which are critical for sustaining production levels. The impact of climate change, including extreme weather events and shifting growing seasons, further threatens agricultural stability. Countries are now urged to evaluate their preparedness to meet these escalating demands. The potential for widespread food shortages could lead to increased prices, economic instability, and social unrest, particularly in developing regions. Policymakers face the urgent task of implementing measures that ensure food supply resilience, such as diversifying sources and investing in sustainable practices. Global cooperation will be essential in addressing these challenges effectively. Nations must prioritize collaborative efforts to forge a sustainable agricultural future, preventing resource competition that could exacerbate existing disparities. In light of ongoing climate challenges, global leaders are increasingly focused on agricultural preparedness and resilience. The impacts of climate change are becoming more severe, leading to unpredictable weather patterns that disrupt farming and threaten food supply chains. Recent discussions at international summits have underscored the urgent need for countries to enhance their capacity to manage agricultural inputs effectively, particularly in vulnerable regions. As nations face rising temperatures, droughts, and flooding, investing in sustainable farming practices and innovative technologies has emerged as a critical strategy. This approach not only protects food security but also strengthens national economies. Leaders are urged to integrate agricultural innovation into broader national security frameworks, recognizing that a stable food supply is essential for social stability. As climate-related challenges intensify, the dialogue surrounding agricultural preparedness is more crucial than ever. Looking ahead, countries that prioritize sustainable agriculture will be better positioned to adapt, ensuring resilience against future climate shocks and securing their economic futures. With the ongoing geopolitical tensions, economists are beginning to assess the financial repercussions of conflicts around the world. Recent military engagements in various regions have led to significant disruptions in global supply chains. Analysts are warning that prolonged conflicts can lead to destabilization, affecting everything from commodity prices to investment flows. For instance, the war in Ukraine has already resulted in soaring energy prices and food shortages in several nations. The intricate link between military actions and economic stability is becoming increasingly evident as countries grapple with inflation and reduced consumer confidence. Governments are urged to consider the economic consequences when engaging in military operations, recognizing that military might can undermine economic resilience. As the world becomes more interconnected, the ramifications of conflict extend far beyond the battlefield, influencing global trade and economic policies. How countries navigate these economic challenges will be critical in shaping their future trajectories. A proactive approach, including diplomatic solutions and economic sanctions, could mitigate potential crises before they escalate into larger global downturns. The global supply chain landscape continues to face significant disruptions, prompting businesses and governments to rethink their strategies. Recent reports indicate that numerous factors, including geopolitical tensions, such as trade wars and military conflicts, alongside climate-related events like extreme weather, are exacerbating these challenges. Companies are struggling to maintain production levels due to delays in logistics and shortages of essential materials, including semiconductors and raw goods. This has led to increased costs and inflationary pressures affecting consumers worldwide, particularly in sectors like automotive and electronics. Economic experts are advocating for a reevaluation of supply chain dependencies, emphasizing the importance of local sourcing and diversification to mitigate risks. As businesses adapt to the current environment, the need for resilience in supply chains has never been more critical. The ongoing disruptions are prompting a shift towards more sustainable practices and technologies. Looking ahead, companies that invest in robust supply chain strategies and embrace innovation will be better positioned to navigate future challenges and capitalize on emerging opportunities in a rapidly changing global market. As nations grapple with the fallout from recent crises, significant policy changes are on the horizon. Governments are increasingly recognizing the need for comprehensive strategies to address pressing issues such as climate change, economic stability, and public health. The COVID-19 pandemic and escalating climate disasters have underscored vulnerabilities in existing systems, prompting this urgent reassessment. Recent discussions among world leaders have emphasized the importance of international cooperation in formulating effective policies that transcend borders. With public sentiment shifting towards sustainability and social equity, policymakers are urged to take decisive action that reflects these values. These changes may involve reforms in various sectors, including energy, agriculture, and healthcare, promoting greener technologies and equitable access to resources. The implications of these policy shifts are vast, potentially reshaping national and global landscapes. Economic analysts suggest that these reforms could stimulate job creation and innovation, driving growth in emerging sectors. As countries prepare to implement these strategies, the real test will be how effectively they can translate discussions into tangible actions. In the coming months, we will witness whether these policy changes lead to meaningful progress or merely serve as temporary measures in a complex global landscape. A looming economic crisis is becoming a pressing concern for nations worldwide. Inflation rates are steadily rising, with many countries reporting levels not seen in decades. Supply chain issues persist, exacerbated by lingering effects from the COVID-19 pandemic and recent geopolitical tensions. Governments are scrambling to implement measures to stabilize their economies, as recent data indicates significant slowdowns in growth. The International Monetary Fund has warned that the risk of recession is increasing, with global growth projected to fall sharply. This troubling situation is compounded by skyrocketing energy prices, which have further strained financial systems and household budgets. Citizens are feeling the impact acutely, as rising costs erode purchasing power and lead to increased social unrest. Policymakers face the daunting task of balancing the need for economic recovery with fiscal responsibility. Innovative solutions are urgently needed to address these challenges, as traditional methods may no longer suffice. Central banks are considering interest rate adjustments, while governments explore stimulus packages. As nations navigate these turbulent waters, the effectiveness of their strategies will be crucial. The coming months will reveal whether decisive action can avert a deeper crisis and lay the groundwork for sustainable recovery. The world is currently facing an escalating food crisis, triggered by a confluence of factors, including climate change, geopolitical tensions, and supply chain disruptions. Recent reports indicate that food prices have soared, with staples like wheat and rice seeing significant increases, putting immense pressure on families and communities across the globe. The situation is particularly dire in developing countries, where access to basic food items is becoming increasingly limited, leading to higher rates of malnutrition and food insecurity. This crisis is exacerbated by ongoing conflicts and trade restrictions, which hinder the flow of essential goods. As governments scramble to respond, there are growing calls for international cooperation to address the root causes of this crisis, emphasizing the need for coordinated policies. Experts warn that without immediate action, the consequences could be catastrophic, leading to widespread hunger, civil unrest, and destabilization in vulnerable regions. The agricultural sector is urged to adopt innovative practices, such as sustainable farming techniques and improved water management, to enhance resilience against climate impacts. Global leaders now face the critical challenge of ensuring food security for their populations. Their responses will shape the future of global food systems, determining whether we move toward equitable distribution and sustainable practices that avert disaster or continue down a path of increasing inequality and instability. Thank you for watching today's News Roundup. Which story shocked you the most? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.